The Essential Education projector range from Hitachi sponsors ICT programs.
Saltash in Cornwall, the site of Brunel's groundbreaking 19th century railway bridge. Brunel may well have been surprised to see another technological revolution taking shape just a mile away at Saltash School. The D&T department is hosting eScape, a two-day trial of handheld digital devices called PDAs, led by Professor Richard Kimball of Goldsmiths College.
You'll be designing a prototype, which is a kind of working model, that could, at a later stage, be developed into a final product. Okay, so
the trial is testing two things: the effectiveness of the PDA as a tool to enhance pupil creativity and as an aid to assessment.
I've got my PDA plugged into the computer and it's projecting up on the screen here. So what I'd quite like you to do is sound recording. You can open the recording tools by pressing, that's a little cassette, audio cassette, by clicking the audio cassette at the bottom, and the audio recording tools will come up.
Tony Wheeler, Senior Research Fellow, leads the students through the 5 functions of the PDA.
Everybody on a screen like this?
Press that little.
You can draw,
What do you have to worry about? I think you had your
write,
so you're used to it.
take photos, type, and record your voice.
It's easy to use.
a manufacturing company has asked you to develop some ideas for possible pill dispensers. They're looking for attractive, imaginative designs and something that's easy to use and desirable. And when I fire up box 1, you're going to end up with the drawing screen. We want you to put your first ideas down. Here we go. With luck, we are live. So you should have it any moment now. Tap here.
So,
It gives you credit for it, but nobody should have done it before, so you get the credit for it.
The PDAs are set up so the pupils can dip into and comment on each other's work.
Just put a zip compartment for pills.
And the interactivity of the PDAs means teachers and examiners can continuously assess the pupils' work on a website that stores the entire project as it unfolds.
That's a very fine line, look.
That's lovely.
Very
and
fine
completely
line.
legible.
Completely legible.
And I'm intrigued at the different styles, that the different styles of their drawing have come through on the electronic device.
Yeah. So there's a first idea. It's a standard bit of product drawing. And that's his comments on somebody else's work. Now there's, that's nice. And very clear writing. This is where we move from the PDA onto paper. What we'd like you to do is to spend a few minutes reflecting on the work that's in the PDA and putting down here the way you want to take your ideas forward.
Ross, you didn't do anything.
Can you now, using the PDA, fire it up, go to the photograph option, and please take a photograph of what you've drawn in box 4.
Don't get too close to your piece of work.
The pupils then switch from sketching to modelling. Richard and his team believe it's important not to let the new technology take over.
It's often the case that youngsters find it easier to create their ideas and develop their ideas through materials. by handling the real thing. There's something about the physicality of managing materials that prompts different kinds of ideas.
The handheld computers are good for the designing and thinking of the overall start of the design, and the model is good for when you're halfway through it and you've got the design that you want and to improve on it.
Look at that, eh? You can take one of those every day.
Some silky skills, isn't it?
Excellent. Yeah.
And then you just go.
Put it back. When it comes around, it pops another in.
Dave Hales is the class teacher, and he thinks the PDA offers real benefits.
We are obviously trialling an assessment setup here, but in fact I can see the PDA, if you think of it in terms of a learning tool, it could be an electronic scrapbook, get a record or anything interesting, good for note-taking. The advantage of that is going to be that, you know, that we can keep a central record of all this. We could access it as teachers and give interim assessments, interim feedback, much better than handling masses of folder work.
Right, you twist it, and then the pill pops up, and then twist it back to close it. I guess you just attach that to like your belt line on your trousers. It's made for like 6-year-olds, and it's got like easy zip, so it just stores the pills in there, something simple for little ones.
Pill goes down into the dispenser, and when the timer's set and when the time's right, it pulls out and the pill drops.
You can take up to 3 photographs of your model. You might want to do it in, you know, from different directions or whatever. And then we want you to answer some questions that will appear on the screen. What we want you to think about is how the idea is going, and also what you still need to do more development on, what you're not sure about.
And to complete day 1, they're asked to make a full update of their work on the PDA.
That's it. Touch the cassette. Sound files. Okay?
I just need to develop it a bit more ideas of it, and I just need to work on some sketches.
It's gradually looking like what it's supposed to. What is working well.
Take a picture of your model in progress, so you can see your mistakes, and the sound as well is really good because you can remember what you've said.
What we're developing is an assessment tool for design and technology, but the potential for it to grow into a learning vehicle is huge. What we've developed is a technology that enables us to capture students' activity, and I think that small-scale handheld technologies are naturally more useful, more intuitive, more sensitive than dirty great machines that tend to dominate space.
Capital A, lowercase p.
And Tony Wheeler believes schools need to plan for the future.
98% of young people in this age group have mobile phones. When we ask the question, have you got a camera in there, in your phone, all the children now have a camera in their mobile phones. They all take photographs every day. They send texts all the time. You try and stop them. This technology is with young people. They are very familiar with it. If schools don't embrace it and begin to look at ways in which we can incorporate that skill that young people have, then we're doing a disservice to not only to the young people, but to ourselves.
The day begins with a demonstration of how the PDA work connects to a website that can be seen by the whole class.
Let's have a look at someone else's. Let's close that down. Leanne, do you mind if I open yours? Some of the photographs are really quite clear when you get the lighting right and the angle right and the distance away from the object right. And as you can see, begin to build an interesting story of how your work is developing. And then the photograph of the booklets Again, it's not maybe not quite as crystal clear and sharp as the paper version, but it's perfectly possible to see what you've written, and for your teacher to see what you've written, and for awarding body examiner type people to see what you've written.
What we're running this whole thing for is to test that system, and what we need is you working with us to tell us, to help us to make that system work better, because we've already found some things that didn't work very well, and I'm sure we'll find a lot more things that don't work very well, but we'll find them easier if you help us to see them.
Before the next stage of modelling, Richard gets the pupils to brainstorm ideas to improve their pill containers.
Got them all in? That's terrific. So there's visual things to think about, there's technical things to think about, and there's user things to think about. See if you can push your ideas as far as you can. Carry on.
I like the PDA a lot. There's just the novelty of using it, I think.
Do you like mixing it up with doing the models there?
Yeah, it makes it a bit more exciting rather than just using one thing all the time.
To be honest, for drawing, I prefer using paper, but for the sake of everything you can do at the same time on these PDAs, they're definitely a good idea.
That'd be more like the real size.
Right.
Whereas that was easier to model and I could understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
That one, now I can do a smaller version which is like more realistic.
Okay, brilliant.
I don't know what else to say. I like the camera. I think it's good that you can like take pictures of your work going through the stages.
My mechanism needs further development, but I'll progress through that in the next 40 minutes.
Does that help at all?
Yeah, I think it really helps me understand what I want to achieve and sort of puts everything in perspective for what I want to do next.
I can think about it all, but I can't like get the words out, and I feel quite stupid talking to myself.
Everything's working well now, and I've gone back.
Finally, the pitch.
I want you to imagine yourself stuck in a lift with the two directors. You've got as much time as it takes for the lift to get to the 6th floor to sell them the idea.
Just saying, oh,
I want to talk to you about today about my product will be handy and useful to these elder people that may struggle and have problems remembering what pills and tablets they are taking every day.
My product is really good. It's colourful, it's organised, and it's easy to use.
The next stage for the Goldsmiths team is a 20-school pilot. They'll report back to the DFES and QCA by January 2007.
What I'm going to do is put an individual little questionnaire for you each. This is all about the PDA, really. 3 best things about the PDA, or thumbs down, the 3 worst things about working with the PDA. So we'd like your personal opinions about this, and then we will have a discussion about it.
In the next programme, we'll hear detailed feedback from the pupils and researchers on the best ways to develop handheld technology.
Work on the elastic band and keep that on a bit.
Essential education projectors from Hitachi sponsor ICT programs.